For sure, like calculate it in, because I assure you there will be situations that require a lot of money that you didn't account for originally before you left the trip. Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Flow of Consciousness YouTube channel. And as you can see, I am currently at the airport. It's Cancun Airport, and I have spent the past 5 months in Tulum, which is a small town in Mexico, not too far from Cancun. It's like 2 hours by bus or something. And I want to take the opportunity to talk a little bit about my experiences traveling the world for 5 years. And I think this is a great setting for me to do that, because if you travel a lot, you spend a lot of time at the airports too, because you need to be on time for your flight and you need to wait for your check-in, etc., etc. So I think it's quite the right setting for me to talk about these things. So I would like to share with you 5 things that I wish people would have told me before I started traveling the world. Number 1 is traveling requires a lot of practical preparation. You need to buy tickets. You need to make sure that you get to the airport on time. You need to find transportation. You need to find accommodation. You need to find ways to get around. You need to figure out the local currency. You need to find ways where you can buy food. There's so much stuff that you need to figure out, and it requires a lot of preparation, and it requires a lot of practical planning. So I used to not be a great planner, so I'm a very impulsive person. And so planning for me, it really requires a lot of attention and effort. And I was really surprised how much practical planning it actually requires to make it happen and to actually travel, you know. You have to book the flight ticket, and you have to figure out how to get to the airport and things like that. Like taxi, your luggage, everything. So there's so much stuff that you need to keep in mind. And it's not just like, okay, let me just book a plane ticket and that's it, like I can travel. Well, not really. Like visas, vaccinations, regulations in the country that you're traveling to, like all these things, they require a lot of preparation, and you need to really develop a sense of practicality and really hone your problem-solving skills. Because this is the second point that I want to address, is that you will have to solve a lot of problems. So hone your problem-solving skills as much as you can and stay sharp, stay creative, because traveling is incredibly chaotic, because the world is doing its thing. And if you are, in your hometown somewhere, and you have like a fixed routine, and you wake up at the same time, and you go to work at the same time, and you come home at the same time, and you know your grocery store, and whatever, it's more like predictable in a sense. But traveling is so chaotic because there is such a massive amount of things happening around you all the time that inevitably problems will present themselves, right? So you'll have to solve a lot of problems. Let me give you an example. I was in Ukraine, and I booked a flight to go to Budapest because I wanted to go back home. And I go to the airport at 11 in the evening, 11 p.m. I hope it's not too loud with this sound, because for me it's extremely loud. Anyways, so I wanted to go back home at 11 p.m. was the flight that I was going to take. And so I go to the airport. This is the last flight. I go to the airport, and they tell me, hey, you're not a Hungarian citizen, so you can't board the plane. And I was like, wait, what? It's the last flight. Like, what should I do? It's like an hour from the town, like from the city center to come here. The last flight, it's 11 p.m. What do? I have to, can you just let me board the plane? Oh no, you have to solve your own problem. I'm like, what, can you at least help me? Like, what, can I take another flight or something? Oh no, I don't know what's going, I don't know. You should solve it. So this is a situation. It's 11 p.m. in Ukraine. I have all my luggage. I don't have a place to sleep. I booked the plane, so I was supposed to board the plane and arrive in Budapest few hours later. Solve your problem, right? So I had to call a cab, I had to go back to the center, I had to find the hostel that was still open, I had to walk there, and then I had to book a room and stuff like that. So it's very difficult sometimes to deal with the situations. I was very stressed, like, what do? I have all my luggage, how do I find a place to sleep? So you will have to solve a lot of problems. So be prepared to, be prepared and know that traveling is fun, yes, but you will also have to require a lot of problems. So the third thing that I wish people would have told me before I started traveling is that spending money can be a challenge sometimes. What I mean, like the costs, they can be unpredictable, you know. Sometimes you don't know what transportation will cost, or your flight was moved and you had to rebook your whole accommodation, or you had to solve problems with food and stuff like that. So the money that you set aside, I would add like 20% to what you originally budgeted for, maybe even 25 or 30%, because inevitably there will be situations which require extra money that you didn't calculate for, right? So let me give you an example. I am trying to get around in the city and my bike breaks. I'll have to buy another bike, or my phone gets stolen. I'll have to buy a new phone. Like I was in Thailand for a few months and I lost, I think, 3 phones. So I lost one in the cab, 2 got stolen. What do? You need the phone, right? You need to get around, you need to find the maps and stuff like that. So I spent almost like 2,000 euros more on the trip than I originally budgeted for, because I wasn't prepared for example, losing a phone, or maybe your computer breaks. For example, my charger of my computer, it broke. Well, I didn't expect that, of course, so I had to find a way to buy a new charger, but it's a small town, so you can't, there's no shops that sell these chargers, so I had to like put it on Facebook Marketplace, and then I eventually found somebody who was willing to sell their second-hand one, and I was hoping that, hopefully it won't break. So keep in mind that you will have more expenses than you originally budgeted for, and calculate this in your travel budget for sure. Like calculate it in, because I assure you there will be situations that require a lot of money that you didn't account for originally before you left the trip. So make sure that you have enough savings or enough money set aside so you can solve these problems also financially. All right. So the fourth thing that I wish people would have told me before I started traveling the world is that, at least for me, this is a very personal point, is that meeting new people is fun, it's exciting, it's cool. You know, you meet all these different people from all over the world and it's pleasant. But after traveling for a long time, it becomes almost like boring, because it starts to look the same all the time. Even though it's a unique person in front of you, even though it's a person you've never met before, the fact of meeting a new person is kind of similar. It has this like meta quality around it, which is the same everywhere and all the time, right? So you can't imagine how many empty Instagram accounts or Facebook accounts, like, oh, let's connect and let's keep in touch, and you connect on social media and they're just people you don't even remember, right? I have so many Facebook contacts that I met during my travels that I didn't even talk to anymore after our initial interaction. So it's, for me at least, good to know that, okay, I can let go of these relationships. I don't have to connect on Facebook and Instagram anymore. It's not important, because you have the interaction and that's it. That's what matters, you know. And after that, you part ways, and maybe by chance you run into each other at some point again, whatever. But it's not. I believe that traveling can be a lot of fun, but I also came to understand the value of the friendships that I already have, the friendships that are there for a long time, you know. Meeting new people all the time, it's cool, it's pleasant, it's fun, but I really started to understand and value my friends from my home country, my friends from Belgium, my friends from Budapest, where I go every summer since the past, 5 years, right? So I came to understand the real value of real friends that I've spent a lot of time with, that I have a lot of memories with, and these flimsy interactions with new people that I meet everywhere around the world. They are fun, they are exciting, they can be cool, but they are not the meat of the matter. They are not the most important thing. And so as you go about your travels, maybe sometimes don't hold on too much onto the the interactions you have during your travels. Don't necessarily wait and crave to connect on Instagram or Facebook, because in the end of the day, you won't care. You won't care. You will forget about them. Or maybe you will just remember this one moment you had together and it was fun, it was beautiful. But don't spend too much of your energy trying to hold on to all these people, because they will fade. And for me, it took a lot of my energy initially, and now I am guarding my energy way more. And I just interact with the people, yes, but I don't feel the need to stay in touch. I don't feel the need to keep them in my life. You know, it's fun to meet, you part ways, you let go. And remember the value of the friends you already have. Don't lose track of them. Stay in touch. Send messages, send videos, send photos for them, you know. That I believe that this is, for me at least, it's something that I learned through traveling for such a long time. And then the fifth and final point I want to talk about is the importance of a home, or the importance of a stable environment. Because we as humans, I believe, at least for myself personally, it's really important to feel some kind of safety, to feel some kind of stability. And yes, traveling for 3 weeks and moving around and viewing all these touristic places and, you know, exciting adventures and going on day trips and things like that, it's all fun for 3 weeks. But if you do this for 5 years, 5 years in a row, then at some point you just get tired of it. You just want to have a stable surroundings. You just want to be able to go to bed at the same time. You want to find your favorite grocery store. You want to find your favorite restaurants. You want to find some small community, maybe your daily routines, your daily walks, whatever it is. At least for me, I'm speaking from personal experience, right? You want to find some stability, and the always traveling around, the always novel stimulation, the always new input, it gets tiring. It gets tiring sometimes. It gets so difficult to continuously adapt to a new environment, a new situation, right? After 5 years of traveling, I can safely say that when I travel now someplace, I just go there for 4 months, 5 months, a nice time. Maybe sometimes I do a small day trip here and there. You know, I go watch some nature parks or some touristic place that I should have seen that would be stupid if I didn't see it. But in general, I just prefer to go to a place, settle down, find accommodation that I can rent per month or like medium to long term, and just settle in, relax, take it easy. You don't have to go every day hard and meet all these people and see all these things. Of course, if you only have 3 weeks, then you want to plan everything ahead and you want to make sure that everything is fun and filled with activities. But if you have more of a long-term travel perspective, then take your time. Just book a place for a month, relax. Sometimes I don't even do nothing. I'm just at home, and people are like, well, but you're traveling. Well, yes, but I'm also living, you know. This is something that I came to understand, that the traveling, it's not sustainable. At some point you need to live, and you need to settle and feel comfortable and feel safe and feel secure and feel in an environment that you know that you can rely on, right? Because if you're always moving around constantly, it gets tiring, and it feels like there is no ground under your feet. You're always floating above something. And I think as human beings, it's important to feel grounded, to feel safe, to feel secure, to find some kind of routine. And this is something that I think a lot of people can fall into, like the trap of always wanting new, novel stimulation and not really paying attention to grounding themselves and finding a safe environment that they can rest in and that they can feel comfortable and safe in. So those are the 5 things that I wish people would have told me before I started traveling the world, and things that I learned through my own experience. I hope that this will be informative for you, inspiring for you. I hope I can provoke some thoughts. And I'm also very, very curious about your story. Have you traveled the world? Are you planning to do so? Do you have fears? Do you have doubts? Are there things that you struggled with? Are there things that you are afraid of? that you would like to learn more about before you go traveling, or are you dealing with certain difficult situations while you're traveling? I'm curious, I would love to hear more, so please share your stories in the comments. I would love to read everything that you guys come up with. So I want to thank you for being brave. I want to thank you for working on yourself, looking inwards and making the world a better place, one step at a time. And as always, thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Bye.